Firstly, I would like to place on record Rose's argument trying to associate the Central Security Forces with the cookies. So that would amount to, I think, casting aspersions on the professionalism of the Indian Army. In fact, the Indian Army, given their location and their roles and the kind of all India representation with regard to its personal composition, I think they are the only ones that can maintain effective law and order situation in the state. I'm surprised by the general pattern that tries to cast aspersions on the security forces without, again, questioning the sectarian or the partisan conduct of the state forces which are under the control of the Chief Minister Biren. I think in places where the Indian security forces, Indian Army are operating, there is a greater semblance of peace and tranquility. And it is exactly for this reason that the cookies have both invested their faith in their security forces, the central security forces. In fact, it has been long-standing demand that the Indian security forces be placed in the vulnerable cookie areas. They have a strong objection to the state forces simply because there have been various ground reports that indicate the partisan conduct of the state forces. Wherever the state forces, when it ultimately lead to the destruction and the arsons of the many cookie villages. So for that reason, I think the first step and the main refrain has been that president rule has to be imposed so that violence can be controlled. And I also want to reiterate once again that regular spot verification of the SU camps have been conducted, and the arms, ammunitions, and the personals remain intact. So that should be, I think, taken note of by my co-panelist, Roses. And thirdly, it is important to take into account the fact that the sectarian conduct of the state government is largely responsible for the kind of autonomy or separate arrangements that the cookies or other tribal communities have been demanding. Unfortunately, the larger narrative has been that any kind of autonomy demands by marginalized communities are being delegitimized or chastised as sectarian and separatist in nature. But rather, I think the pertinent question should be asked, why that kind of a perception or demands for separate administration is emerging? It is precisely because of the partisan manner in which the state has been conducting with regard to development, with regard to public policy, formulations, and so on. I think critical questions have to be rather asked with to the state government. And rather than delegitimizing the legitimate aspirations of the marginalized communities, the question should be asked to the state government, why has it not been able to fulfill or get the trust and the faith of the whole communities of the state? If you look at the last 2-3 years, the Chief Minister Biren Singh has been really representing a very hardline Métis nationalism. Looking at the kind of comments, the tone and tenor of his Facebook posts, social media posts, and comments, engaging in political dog whistlings and so on, I think that is exactly the reason why the cookies have a strong distrust in the Biren Singh-led government. It is important that as a first credible step towards resolving the violence in the state, it is important that the center takes control of the state for the time being, so that violence can be contained and the next process of bringing solution to the conflicts can be explored. Yeah.
Beautifully put, Dr. Hauger. Very beautifully put. Do you think that it's time they reconstitute it now, a smaller, a leaner version of it, after taking their राय, हाँ हम पीस कमेटी का हिस्सा बनना चाहते हैं, not like the last time, नाम दे दिया पर उनकी राय नहीं ली, उन्होंने बाद में इस्तीफा दे दिया, बोले sorry we were not consulted. Dr. Rajesh.
I think the role of the peace committee is very important, and all the stakeholders, all the communities should be consulted, and the sincere effort should be put up. in the peace committee, and there are many prominent people from both the Kukis and Nagas and Meitei. Even Naga and Muslims are also taking a very positive role to bring peace in Manipur. So we should actually invite from all communities, and not necessarily from the both Meitei and the Kuki. And all the concerns should be addressed. That's one point. There are 2-3 points which actually we all, the intelligence about Kuki, Meitei, and the larger Indian mainstream people, we all need to agree this point of time that the Manipur need peace. For that, actually, those people who involved in this violence and the armed group, both the Kukis and Meitei, should be disarmed. And all the Kukis and Meitei intelligentsia should not support any of the armed group. And there is no point of protecting the Sioux militant. All these Sioux militant camps should be dismantled and should be placed from 30 kilometers away from the foothills, because it is disturbing to the peaceful existence norm. And all these camps, which is nearby the Assam Rifles, should also be dismantled. And this, again, the Meitei armed group, they also be dismantled, because even it is danger for not only for Manipur, but for the Meitei group, for your radicalization of things. So because of, even if you know that even in Manipur has been very peaceful, and then the armed movement have been very limited in the last couple of years. But because of this conflict, now not only the youth, but the women, even in the Meitei real camps, they are not asking for the food, they are asking for the arms and ammunition, because they are so vulnerable. Because they are so vulnerable, they are so insecure of their life. And this kind of insecurity should not be, should be protected, should be, trying to remove from the mind. And of course, I'm telling you again that the Kukis and the Meitei and the Nagas are the three very important components of a Manipuri society. And in this conflict, of course, more than 65,000 people have been displaced. But even the conflict in terms of casualties, unfortunately, around maybe 130 people have been lost their life. But actually in this conflict, if the border community cannot live each other, then there would be more casualty would have been there, because the border community saved their lives in Chocha, whether in Chuchampur or More or Imphal. But of course, in some other cases, we cannot save life, and we also share the pain of the loss of life from the border communities. I'm actually sharing, like whoever actually lost their life, their life, and we should pray for them. And there should be a very sincere effort from the border communities. And this point of time, only coexistence, peaceful, respecting the border communities, and living together. And the Manipur modern society has been built from all communities, and the Kuki have also done a lot of work in the modern
But
society.
Rajesh,
so that is the point. Yeah.
Rajesh, Brijesh this side. I just wanted to ask you a question. You're saying that the Sioux group should be disarmed. You're saying the Meitei armed group should be disarmed and disbanded. But how do you do that? When what happened on Saturday is something which can happen again and any number of times. When women-led mobs force Indian Army to release 12 militants, how do you see that? Is this going to be this easy?
No, that is what I'm saying. Like, if you are not taking action against the Kuki militant and only concentrating on Imphal, this will likely to happen. The
But
women
the line which you're saying, Rajesh, I'm just trying to understand from you. I'm not trying to grill you or anything. But the line which you're saying is the same line which is said by the other side, that it is they who are being targeted and not the Meiteis, and the arms were not looted from the armory, but arms were handed over. So how does this end? I mean, because other than this, reaching a solid ground, I mean, these are mere words.
No, I'm a sociologist, okay, by tradition. So I actually understand the logic of why this is happening. For example, on the 3rd May, if the attack was simply by the common mob without arms, like Gujarat and other places, it was by sword and other things. But the 3rd May violence was there evidence in the social media and other, the armed, organized, sophisticated armed militant was involved. That is why the other side thought that you cannot fight with the armed group without arms. That is why they actually looted force to get those arms. The point is that the other side is already armed, because when you say Sioux militant, there are 17 armed organizations are there. And even though there are 2,000 members are registered, but we don't know how many members are there. in the Sub militant. So if some people are trying to defend them that they are not involved, then who are they? Who are they? On the 28th May, the all 17 places have been attacked. Who are them? So this has to be answered by the government, because the Meitei or any other villagers or even Kuki have no, we are all not, our job is not to defend our village. The job of to defending our is the security forces, the
Correct.
Assam Rifle Army.
Correct.
That is a
Correct.
job. If they have failed the job, then the people are themselves arming to protect themselves. So this situation is also because of the failure of the state, both the state government and the central government. So yes, other group will only blame the state government, but we will blame both the government. We will blame both the center. From the 5th onward, the law and order situation have been under the control of the Home Minister, under the security advisor. Even Chief Minister was even not the chief of the Unified Command. Now he is just coming again yesterday. But in the last many days, Home Minister is directly controlling the security command. And the responsibility is central government has the responsibility, but the other side is only helping, saying that okay, we are the kind of thing. Only they are. Issues have been divided. Why they are not blaming the central government? They only said that we believe the central government, we believe the BJP of the Delhi, and we don't believe the Imphal. So issues have been divided. My point is that both the center and the state have failed to protect the life of both Cookies and Meitei. And the center is responsible for that.
Okay.
Central basic state means both the state government, because Biren Singh government, Biren is a rubber stamp of the Home Minister. Whatever he will say, the Biren Home Minister will say, he will say, like he was called in Imphal and he becomes so active.
Dr. Rajesh, I would say that, on the lighter side, not to be taken, that you will find very few independent chief ministers when it comes to the current scenario. I don't think, you'll have independent chief ministers. Only Congress right now have independent chief ministers because they refuse to listen to their own high command. That is why Mr. Gehlot is the chief minister, not the president of the Congress party. I am not making light of the discussion, but that's the truth of the matter. When it comes to the ruling dispensation, I don't think there is an independent chief minister. They have to listen to whatever is happening in center. Mr. Misal, you had raised your hand.
I was just saying because when he said when the incident started in that Chulsanpur, the militant with sophisticated weapons coming up. So now I would tell the whole world what really transpired on that day. I was personally taking part in the rally, and there was just before the rally, the Meitei community. I don't know. It was a solidarity march, peaceful march only, and I don't know why they imposed counter blockades to the hills. That's the first thing. The second thing is like when the rally was organized peacefully, every person who were taking part in the rally were just back to home. And then some miscreant came to the place where the Anglo Cookie War centenary gate was there, and then they started burning. So a group of, because you always have emotional attachment with your history. That's why a group of young people, like when they heard that, they got pissed off, and then they started running towards the gate, and then they know that there were a group of people who were coming in Bolero, and then they run back, and then they also went there to reason out why they are burning, and then in the whole process, what happened is people who went there to just reason out were beaten black and blue, and then what happened? There was scuffle between the community, and unfortunately, the Meitei community started burning down. That's how it is reaching to this scale. Because if the burning down of houses didn't start, I think it won't get to reach this scale. The fighting will end there, and the problem can be solved amicably. But when the burning down of houses started, it's how it reached to this scale and gravity, intensity.
Okay.
Now the other thing is, I am very surprised because I highly regarded this Meitei community because they are a well-disciplined community built with a very strong ethical values, and we keep, even my family and my father keep saying, you must follow the lifestyle of the Meitei community, because they are highly disciplined. The children are highly disciplined. They are strongly rooted in with ethical values. But if you look at all this time, if you look at this time, there are, I think, I don't know why they just forget who they are, and then resorted to all these inhuman acts,
Okay.
where everyone
Okay.
was raped, killed, and where a child,
I think
a young boy
Miss Saoji, only thing I would say is, I would
That's
only,
that's
I
what I'm
got your
trying
point,
to
Miss
project.
Saoji. The reason why there are a couple
Yeah,
of
yeah.
other information which I have to, put in. The only thing which I would say, Miss Saoji, is that, state was not seen acting. You asked me as a journalist, 24 years I have also spent in this profession. What I distinctly find is, state is not seen acting. State has to be seen in action.